Spurs News Podcast, your home for all things Tottenham Hotspur. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the weekly episode of the Spurs News Podcast. I am Sam. Joining me this week, it's Stefan.
Hello.
How you doing, mate?
I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. So a little bit of admin to kick off. Matt is back soon. He has messaged from his Hollybobs and is looking forward to sharing his thoughts on all things Angeball and the way we've started the season very soon. Thank you to Dan for stepping in last week. He did a very good job. Polynesian Dan, as he's known.
He did a good job.
Feckin' huge, but softly spoken.
Yeah.
And so we got a couple of games to talk about, which is going to be rare this season, it would appear. With no Europe and now no League Cup. So start off with the league game. Another very good, solid Angeball. It was very good. It was a good, solid away win at Bournemouth. I watched the game, really enjoyed it again, really enjoyed the way we're playing, the movement, everything about it. Really enjoyed it. What about yourself?
We dominated the game pretty much, majority of the game, I'd say.
Yeah.
Maddison getting the goal. I mean, he got that in I think it was the 17th minute. And at no point after that did I kind of go, oh, we're in trouble here.
I did for a little bit.
I don't know why. I just felt very kind of comfortable watching it, going, no, okay.
There was a time where, again, this sort of goes to show that I was very much, big Ange and backing him, because in that game, there was a period where I felt Bournemouth really got on top of us, start of the second half. Mm-hmm. And I was watching it, I was thinking, they're really on top. And I'm so used to very ineffective changes from the manager, etc. And almost kind of like calculated, I'm not going to make a change now because I'm making a change on 65 minutes and that's what I've predetermined,
Yeah.
Sort of with Conte, it felt, okay, we're going to hit this minute, here comes the subs.
Yeah. I remember that with that Argentine guy. Is it Lamella or something, the manager?
No.
Can't remember.
Lamela's player manager was excellent.
But that was like 75 minutes, no subs before that.
Yeah, so it was kind of like a bit strange to then see, actually, no, they're on top at the minute. I'm going to make a couple of changes, bring on a bit of experience in Perisic and Højbjerg.
Yep.
Who came on and did a really great job. They came on, used that experience. Højbjerg sort of slowed the pace down a little bit to take the sting out. Perisic managed to use his sort of tactical nous to find space and drag people, defenders, etc. And we got straight back on top and 2-0. And from that point, like you said, it was cruise control.
And the assist for Kulu's goal.
Yeah.
That was a bit good. For this young kid, he's only a very young fullback.
Udoggy.
He's very young. He's very inexperienced at Premier League level.
Well, yeah, he's literally played 3 games.
Literally, but that move, the 1-2, and then to kind of keep the ball in play and get it in front. Kulusevski's movement was phenomenal.
It was, and I was really great to see that, because we all sort of recognise he isn't in the same sort of form, but he's clearly still, got it mentally there, and you can sort of see as well that the more that it's the third game of Angeball, and you can really see the players that are bought right in, and they're starting to find these little patterns and starting to click in different ways. And Udogie playing that 1-2 sort of out wide and then came in, which is the inverted fullback thing, and then managed to lay that ball back. Yeah, it was great. And I think it's sort of scoring goals like that. I mean, the Maddison goal, the through ball to Maddison, and the movement for a midfielder to run beyond the striker is just something that wasn't happening at Tottenham for 3 years.
No, I have missed it so much.
Yeah, I mean, we used to watch Delhi, basically run past the striker on a regular basis and score.
Yeah.
So to see a midfielder do that again was special, and sort of like, oh wow, I remember this.
But then I think Sarr is one of the players that has really taken to this.
Yeah.
Like unbelievably so. A goal in the last game, and then in this game, getting that beautiful through ball to Maddison to score.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, performance goes, because Bournemouth again is another club. It is a difficult place to go.
Little small stadium, very in your face. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, our away fans this season have been phenomenal. The home game was phenomenal. The away end, I'm always very proud of our away fans. I always watch an away game and just think, oh, well done, guys. That's men and women of our away fans, I applaud you. That was phenomenal. Which kind of brings us nicely to the Fulham game, where from minute one, you could only hear Tottenham in that stadium.
They were loud.
The away fans were phenomenal. There was a great number there, even in the home end, I'm told by many people. And they were great. They turned that atmosphere at that stadium to begin with into what sounded like a home game.
Yeah. And
they rarely stopped. Like there was a little bit of time where I think everyone in the away end was like, we came here to watch Angeball and this isn't it.
Yep.
And this feels like peak Conte ball. What the hell? We've been conned.
It was very strange.
And so there was a little bit of a lull whilst everyone kind of dealt with that moment of this isn't what we paid for and came for. But then they rallied and it was just phenomenal from start to finish, really. So speaking of the Fulham game, there's two aspects I want to talk about. One is it was the League Cup, and obviously we were now out of that. And then the second aspect is the actual performance. So let's open up.
Disappointing as each other, I think.
Well, let's open up with the League Cup aspect and the fact we're out. A couple of weeks ago, me and you were talking about, we were just talking about in general about different things.
Yeah.
And a few people have, shall I say, screen recorded this clip and have sent it in just to say, can you get Stefan's thoughts now?
Yeah.
Basically, in this clip from the show 2 weeks ago, you said, I think Big Ange will want to win things, and we are, definitely going to really go for it in the League Cup or Carabao Cup, you said.
Yeah.
I still call it the League Cup because I'm old.
Yeah.
So, I didn't disagree with you that I felt that with no Europe this season, we would really target the Cups. So, what are your thoughts now, having seen that he made this wholesale team change, seemingly, not actually caring about the League Cup, despite what he says? I mean, that this is how it appears to us as fans, and obviously we have gone out at the first hurdle, which is the lowest round we've gone out in so long, because it's the first time in so long we've actually been in this round, the second round.
It was like the first time in a decade or something crazy, wasn't it? It was
something like that, yeah.
I think the overriding emotion is disappointment.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just at the result, but at the way the result happened. We've had 3 fantastic games of Angeball.
Yeah.
And then this game was just, we never seemed at it. There were passes going astray, there was no movement. Positioning wise, players seemed out of position. It just didn't. I fully thought, genuinely, as I said in that first podcast, that he was going to take the cup really serious.
Yeah.
And now I don't for a second believe that Big Ange would have put a squad out to lose. That doesn't seem to be his nature. He doesn't seem to be a person that enjoys losing, even if it's like a pre-season friendly, So I don't think he sent a team out there to lose. But I do wonder if there was a small part of showing the rest of the board and everything, look, this is what we've got. I don't know. If a couple of players get injured, this is what I've got.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of days left in that transfer window. Let's push through a couple of bits and get some of this deadwood out, and this is what I got, guys.
I don't know. I mean, in the past with other managers, I'd have possibly said, yeah, I think perhaps this is a message to the board, like a Conte or a toxic ass bastard like that.
Yeah.
Where they genuinely don't give a crap about losing a game. But I think you've just said there, he wants to win every single game. He's not someone who is going to throw a cup run to make a point. And I also think that he's come in knowing this is the situation.
It is what it is. Yeah.
I don't think he's come in thinking it's going to change.
I think my biggest issue with it was that if you look at that squad on paper, and how they've played in the games we've seen so far and the games we saw in pre-season,
yeah,
I had no concerns about that squad whatsoever. Emerson Royale has already scored a goal this season. Højbjerg came on against Bournemouth and, like you said, kind of settled the game down, calmed it down, got on the ball. Yeah. Oliver Skipp scored 2 goals against, was it Barcelona in pre-season?
Yep.
I'm looking at these players. Solomon, who came on for his first start and things, I look at him and go, yeah, he's a decent, he's got the small, low centre of gravity, quick feet, good on the ball. I'm like, yep, I've got no problem seeing him play. I think I said in one of the first podcasts, Lo Celso.
Yeah. He
looked completely invigorated by this new system, new manager, and I genuinely thought he was going to have a really good season. Yeah. And Ben Davies, Ben Davies is another player who, during pre-season, has looked really good. And then you put those players I've just mentioned into this squad today, against Fulham, and nothing happened.
No.
Me and you spoke about it before. Like Ben Davies, instead of doing the inverted run, he literally ran off the pitch to go round the outside of a Perisic.
Yeah.
Instead of making the dart into the box, you had Oliver Skipp, who I am a massive, massive fan of Oliver Skipp, had possibly his worst performance in a Spurs shirt. Yeah. Emerson Royale looked like the Emerson Royale of 2 seasons ago. Yeah. I remember the joke used to be, where do attacks go to die? Emerson Royale. Yeah. And the start of this season, he's not looked like that. And then in this game, he did. And it goes back to something that we spoke about last season. I can't remember if it was on a podcast I did or just me and you talking. But there does seem to be a problem with Tottenham and the Carabao Cup. For some reason, we just never seem to get going in this competition.
I don't know about that. I mean, we were in the final only a couple of years ago.
But then unfortunately, the whole Jose Mourinho, Ryan Mason thing happened.
Yeah. I mean, we were in the semis and lost to Chelsea.
But it just always seems to be like that final. For us, it seems to be the final push. Yet this time round, it seems to be the very first push.
The issue with Tottenham in cup competitions for quite a while has been that there seems to be every single manager prioritises trying to get top 4 over winning a cup.
Yep.
Now, you can look at that 2 ways. You can look at it that, unfortunately, that's modern football. That's kind of like, I want to be playing in the Champions League. I want to be managing the Champions League. I want a squad of players who are Champions League quality. I can't have that unless I'm in the bloody Champions League.
Yeah, you need that kind of appeal and the draw of the Champions League to get players.
So you can kind of look at that and go, okay, if you're trying to say Tottenham are a club of that size, which is where the ambition of the club is apparently, then okay, you can look at that. The more, I guess, and I got to put this out there. I mean, I've said this on the podcast loads of times. I am not in the Levy out, Levy in campaign thing one way or another. I'll call it as I see it. When the guy does stuff I think's wrong, I'll say that. When he does stuff I think's right, I'll say that. And I try to present a very unbiased opinion on that. But one of the things that does concern me with this is when it is successive managers seem to not think the cups are worth being in.
Yeah.
It does make you wonder why that is. Because, like, I think anyone will know, if you go into a certain job, you get given your kind of, this is your job role. And I mean, anyone who's played the Football Manager game, like, just to be silly now, you play the Football Manager game, you take on a new job, and they lay out to you, like, this is our vision. And they'll say to you, like, we expect you to have a bloody good go at trying to win the FA Cup or a really good cup run. We want to do this. And, like, jokingly almost at Tottenham, when you join them in Football Manager on the game, it's like, the League Cup, we don't care. Which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And you kind of look at this, and I'm kind of like, okay, if you apply this to real life, every job you're given your kind of expectations. If you are a head coach at Tottenham and you are told, I don't care about winning the FA Cup, I don't care about winning the League Cup, you need to get me to top four. That's how I'm going to evaluate you. If you don't get top four and you win cups, I'm not, that's not good enough. You need to be top four and cups or top four.
Yep.
Then you, of course, are going to prioritise the league. Because that is your job. You've been employed by this person to come in, and that is your role, that is your job. It would seem strange to me that very different people in Pochettino, Conte, the one we won't mention, Jose, and now Ange, who, let's face it, most of them are very chalk and cheese. There is no really... Even Jose and Conte are very different. Like, still toxic bastards, but differently.
Yes.
You got to look at that and just be kind of like, okay, if every single one of those successively have prioritised the league over cups, what's the common denominator there? Why would they all do that? Do you see my point on this? Because it just feels weird.
Yeah.
And with everything that Ange says and everything we know about him, like you rightly said 2 weeks ago, there was nothing amongst anything for us to assume anything other than he would want to try and win a trophy in his first season.
Desperately, yeah.
The League Cup, normally is the fastest route to that, the League Cup. It's the first route to it.
No, literally, like the finals in like February or something. It is literally the first cup
major
you can
trophy,
get.
Yeah. So, what the hell? to make that many changes, I mean, I said this to you, and I said this to a few people on Twitter. He is making the point that he sees all of these players in his squad every day in training, and they are all obviously hitting the level he expects. From the players he's picking, he's obviously seeing the level he expects. He has rotated certain players in and out, and they've done well.
Yep.
So, in his head, I can well believe he put that team out looking at it going, that's a bloody good team. It's going to keep, like, the other lads fresh. They're on the bench if I need them. But that is a bloody good team. We've worked, for a day or so. This is going to, we're going to be good. And it wasn't.
No.
It was awful, and it was disjointed, and it was everything once the game started and you saw how they were playing, it was 7 or 8 changes from the previous, and you looked at it, and it was that.
That's exactly what it looked like. Yeah.
There was no cohesion. There was no kind of... There was no Angeball. There was none of it. And that was kind of a disappointing thing. I think I said to you before the game started, I have watched every coach for a long time field a heavily rotated team, and they be crap all over the place. Yeah. Sometimes we scrape a win with them, but it's never good to watch. Everything Ange has done so far has been enjoyable to watch.
Yep.
So I'm intrigued. This is going to answer a question for me. Has he been able to instill all of this in this entire, squad? Then therefore they're all ready and they're all ready to go.
Yeah.
But the answer is no. When you rotate that many players, it was all over the place. And I do want to just add to this, because I think it's an important thing to do. A lot of people have just gone, well, everyone who played in that game is not good enough. You can see none of them are good enough. And and this is the big thing. You are looking at a group of players who are squad options. These are players that are going to come on as a sub in a game. They're going to come in and out of games to cover injuries.
Well, at least 9 of them, yeah.
But when they do that, they're doing it on the basis of being surrounded by the rest of the settled team. So, of course, they will look better because they are surrounded by a cohesive unit.
I mean, yeah,
whereas
you swap out I'm going to stick with my Lo Celso thing. You swap out Maddison for Lo Celso, but he's still got Son and Kulu either side of him, and he's still got Basuma behind him.
Yeah.
He's going to look a lot better player.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, he is going to be into the system and the settled. You know, if you think of the system like the machine, the players are the cogs. You take a cog out, put another cog in, the machine keeps moving. You take all the cogs off, start replacing them, the machine's going to break down.
Yeah.
So, it's just like that analogy works for me with this. And when people try and write players off because of the performance in the League Cup, I think it's important they try and keep the context of that was a heavily rotated side, and it looked it. It looked all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, we created this new leadership group where we got a captain and 2 vice captains.
And no one played in that game, started that game.
Yeah. And then Ben Davis gets given the arm. But I've got nothing but love for Ben Davis, but he's been at the club a long time. So, yeah, I get it. He's a senior player there, but he's not part of the new leadership group.
As far as I'm aware, he's never really been part of the leadership groups.
No. So, QT Romero, Sonny, and Maddison,
Yep.
none of them are starting. One of them should, in my opinion. Like, you've set up this new leadership group, this new cohesive thing. I don't see, I don't understand. 3 games into the season, I don't see that fatigue should have been a massive factor.
No.
Now, if any of them had knocks, I'd understand. Madison had that knock before, so I can completely understand 2 games that close together, Madison doesn't start. I get that. I really do.
And for me, I am not going to knock Sanchez because that seems to be what the whole of Twitter does. But for me, we had Van de Ven start.
Yeah.
Romero should have been next to him.
Yeah.
That is going to be our centre-back partnership. You want them playing at every opportunity to build that bond.
Yep.
He's also a vice-captain, so you give him the armband.
Yep.
And I can almost guarantee if you've got Romero on the pitch and he's got that captain's armband on, we are at least 1 gear higher in our play.
Yeah.
Because he does genuinely seem like the sort of bloke where if you're not playing well enough, he's going to come slap you in the back of the head.
I mean, he hits people when they score goals. I mean, I dread to think what he'd do if you scored an own goal. Poor Van de Ven probably would have been sparked out.
Yeah. I mean, that guy, I feel sorry for him. He has just been on 2 own goals in 4 games. And neither of them anything he could do about.
No, I mean, people were worried we weren't going to replace Kane, but, we've got a guy who scored 2 and 4. I think that's a pretty good ratio so far, yeah. So, I mean, everyone who listens knows I hate just sort of diving into negatives, so let's try and wrap this up. I think agree. It was a horrible...
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, go on.
I do agree what Ange said, though. Without European games, etc., he has got a squad of players. He needs to know what they can do. And but I do believe the rotation was too many. Maybe 4 players kind of come in, change a bit around. I don't think the 9 was... I think that was a bad move, the 9 swaps.
Yeah. It's amazing how quickly things can change as well. And I think this is kind of societal, not just football, but football is like a real microcosm for it, especially football social media, where it was before the game, sharing videos of Robbie Williams singing Big Angeball, everyone over the moon. The tickets for the away end sold out. Tottenham fans are buying tickets for the home end because Fulham fans didn't care enough to go, and we're all hyped up beyond belief. By the time the game's over, everyone's ready to burn the football club down. It is amazing how sharply that can turn.
Yeah.
And again, this kind of goes into this kind of feeling of Do you know that in The Godfather, and there's a famous gif of it, like just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
Yep.
That kind of thing. And with Tottenham, there's been loads of times over the years I've used that in terms of like, I'm done with this stupid frigging football club. They do my frigging head in. Oh, hang on. Oh, that's a good signing. All right, you got me interested. I'll see how he plays. Or, Ange Postecoglou wasn't my first choice, but that's an interest. I've done a lot of reading. I'm now really on board.
Let's see what happens.
Hopefully, the football's really good. They've got me back in. So there are loads of instances of that. And then I saw someone on Twitter today, and apologies, I can't name check you. So if you're someone who's listening, then message me and shout at me for it. But I just basically saw someone said Tottenham repeatedly are the reverse of this meme, of this gif, which is just when I think I'm in, just when I think I'm back and I'm loving this club again, they do something to push me away. Like they almost deliberately want to aggravate fans, from the ticket price rise to everything that the club just seem to do on a regular basis, to seemingly in this game just not care about winning a cup.
Yes.
When you're a club that is belittled and a fan base that are mocked on a daily basis.
Oh yes.
For never winning a trophy, trophy dodgers, blah 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 blah. And like I've said before, it's kind of water off a duck's back for me. Like my joy in football doesn't come from lifting a trophy, and that's true.
Yeah.
But of course, I want to see us try and win things. I want to see us, show ambition. When you hear the chairman say on a regular basis, we are here to win. It's not, I know the perception's this, but it's not. Well, show us that. Show us that, because at the moment you don't. You say it, the words, lovely words, but you don't actually, walk the walk.
Yeah.
And I think further to that now is like, obviously we've gone out of the League Cup, so we are going to play we are potentially going to play, if we get knocked out of the FA Cup in the third round, for example, this would be the first 40-game season for us in, I think someone worked out 14, 15 years.
Jeez.
Which, with no Europe and out of the Cups at the first hurdle, I mean, that's kind of insane. That's how bad that is. Forget, every other aspect. Now, you can try and find positives. Of course, you can try and find positives. And the one thing I would say to kind of wrap that discussion point up, if you don't mind, is to say, I knew going into this season was going to be all about reshaping, rebuilding the squad, which is likely going to take more than one window.
Yes.
And I knew my expectations for us were zero. Like, losing Harry Kane, for example, so that's 30 goals, so 20 to 30 goals a season's gone.
Yep.
You looked at us last season. If you took them away and the points that they won, we were in a lot of trouble. We were really, really down there because of our defence.
Yep.
So my expectation really going into this season was very low. And my hope was that Ange would start to rebuild the squad, rebuild the team, and get us playing good football. And at least that would be something I could hold on to, and we would, go through the season and just see where we are. Like, I had no expectation, just see where we end up.
Yeah. Agreed.
Now, I think the opening 3 games possibly gave me, you, everybody, a kind of increased
false hope
opinion of, I guess false hope, but just kind of like this is actually really good. Not only is it good to watch, we're actually getting results.
Yeah.
People opening day 2-2 away Brentford, that's not a bad result.
That was a better result than a lot of people gave credit for.
A lot. I mean, Brentford then went on and mauled somebody, and also not many teams go there, and I think only 2 people won there all of last season.
Yeah.
So going there, grabbing a point, okay, that was actually quite a good result in the opening game. To then beat Man United so well, to then beat, Bournemouth away so well, it's been a very good start. And I think perhaps that, not only playing good football, but winning and getting the results, it was just kind of like, maybe my expectations need to be raised. And then, boom, the rug was pulled out from underneath me, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, crap, I forgot. We have a lot of work to do to be good again.
Yeah.
So we did put a thing out for people to send in their questions and topics.
Oh, we did.
As per usual, when Tottenham have lost a game, it's very quiet. So when things are good, we tend to get loads of like, oh, talk about this.
When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's silent.
Yeah. Well, it can be a change actually, because it's either silence or it's just a lot of anger. But anyway, so it's time to hand the show over to our fellow Tottenham fans.
Now it's time for your comments from our social media.
Right then, mate. Facebook or Instagram?
I always say Instagram first. So, Facebook.
Okay. Jackass. All right. We have 2 questions there because there were other comments, but they appear to be replying to the questions. So I think they kind of missed the point of the post. First one's from Ryan Miller. Ryan says, from the poor performance against Fulham, did you see any positives that came out of it? My takeaways from it was good to see Richie get a goal, Scarlett get some minutes on the pitch. Okay, I'll let you go first on that one.
Richie scored.
Were there any positives?
Richie scored. That was a good one. We needed Richarlison to get a goal just to kind of... And his celebration and how he looked after he scored, that meant a lot to him, that goal.
I agree. I think it did.
So I'm hoping. Do you remember? I think it was Peter Crouch. Couldn't score for anything, and then one goal went in, and all of a sudden, floodgates opened. He scored loads.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I'm really hoping that's that sort. This is the floodgate moment for Richie now.
Well, you hate him and you slate him every single week.
Exactly.
And I've told you, I am not allowing you to get on board that train. You're a massive hypocrite.
I really am. I'm a flip-flop fan. Yep.
You slate someone one day and then he scores and he's great. Then he doesn't score and he's shit again.
So, I've said before, my problem with Richarlison is I do not like him. I do not like his attitude. Like, looking at him at other clubs, he's never been a player I liked. He seems to sulk a lot and spent more time rolling around on the floor pretending he was injured than actually trying to play football. And I've never liked him as a player. However, he's joined Tottenham. And it's like, right, I support this club. So therefore, I want him to score 30 goals a season. Because he is my club's striker.
Yep.
But I don't like him.
That's nice.
He
always says really nice things about
I
you.
know,
as well,
it makes me
it's
feel
really
bad.
quite hurtful. Yeah.
He's doing more and more things at the club, which is making me turn around and go, do you know what, actually? I dislike him a bit less now. I dislike him a bit less. I haven't got to the stage of liking him yet, but I definitely dislike him a lot considered to where he was at Everton, you know?
God.
I dislike him a lot less. It's fine.
You're the worst. You're like an example of the worst football fan. You know that?
When he stops diving around on the floor because someone's run past him, then that'll take a big step into me liking him again. But he scored.
Because we've never seen a Brazilian player do that ever.
No, I know.
That's not a thing that they do.
And like my favourite Argentinian player never would go down lying in the box against Man United.
Eric Lamela would never drop like a sack of shit to get someone sent off and win a penalty and then laugh about it to his face as he walked off the pitch.
No, he'd never do that.
That's not something he'd ever do. It is interesting though, isn't it? You have this kind of like, oh, love him. Like Lamela was our guy. He was our shithouse.
Yeah.
And yet, because Richie was a shithouse for another team, hate that guy.
It does. That does seem to be actually, kind of
like you've signed him and brought him in, and you're like, oh God, I can't get used to him. But he's like, no, he's our shithouse now.
It's like Romero. Romero has taken me a very, very long time for me to get on board with Cuti Romero.
Yeah, it has. Yes.
I was there at one of the very first games that he played. And I watched him recklessly throw himself into tackles and get booked. And then I watched someone go for the ball. Like, this was like 30 foot in front of me from where I was sat. I watched someone swipe a foot, him jump over the foot, and then need the medical team to come on because he hurt himself. Yeah. And that was, for me, that was an instant, nah, this is not my sort of player. That's just pissed me off. Like, why is he doing that? Yeah. I've watched you with my own eyes jump over the leg and then go down and need the medical team to come on to sort you out because you're hurt. I watched his leg miss you. Like, don't do that to me. I don't like that.
He might have landed all for it.
Possible, but anyway, I was like, no, I'm out on you. That was like the second game he played or something stupid. However, now I'm a massive Cutie fan. Now he just took me a very long time.
No, you're not allowed.
Just took me a long time to get there.
Jumping on the bandwagon crap. No, you got to stick with it.
He is my vice captain. Yeah, no, but no, Romero scored, so I'm very happy. Richarlison scored. I'm very happy to see him scoring goals. Another positive for me was actually it showed me just how good Udogie is.
Yeah.
By him not being down that left-hand side, we didn't look anywhere near as effective.
That's not really a positive.
In a sense, for me, it's a positive because it shows just how well Udogie has adapted to this system and stuff. So I'm quite happy to see that.
That's kind of like saying it's a positive from me. Harry Kane was really good. He ain't there.
Yeah, fair point.
It's not really a positive from the game. That's just pointing out that we have better
players. Yeah, maybe not. Okay.
It's a positive from me that we need new centre half.
Yeah, I get exactly. Yeah, that's not so much of a positive, actually, is it? Sorry, Ryan, I've ruined your question there, mate.
No, I liked it.
A positive for me is that Richie scored one, but Kane scored two. Yeah.
Yeah. A player that ain't there anymore did really great. It's a real positive.
Yeah, okay, fair point. Yeah. Sorry, Ryan.
So there's two things for me that I'm gonna, and people are gonna roll their eyes. So one positive for me is we are out of this cup, right? There's nothing we can do about that. That's happened. We didn't lose the game in 90 minutes. We lost it on penalties, which, let's face it, we all know is a crapshoot. You know, it's like someone's going to miss, someone else isn't, and sometimes it goes your way and other times you're Tottenham. So that's what it is. But we didn't lose in 90 minutes, even though we didn't play well.
Yeah.
That's a little, and I know that's like really, hand me my straws, I need to clutch them. But that is, if you start the season 4 games, 2 draws, 2 wins, okay, all right. So that's kind of like I'm trying to, didn't play well but didn't lose. Yeah, I know the penalties. So
yeah.
The other thing is now we are out of that, and I've got to shake that off. The one thing that I said a minute ago, and is true of this season, is a massive transition. We are not just transitioning the squad where we're selling people or trying to, and we've lost Kane, etc. It is a massive transition of how the football is being played at Tottenham, and it is going to take time. And this game demonstrated that there are players that are still struggling in the new system, because of the way they played in that game, and it is going to take time, and it is going to take the season, and without the extra games, so playing less games, which hurts the club economically, hurts us as fans, but is what is now, well, that is the reality now. That means there is a lot more time on the training pitch.
If we have a midweek game, you're only going to train a little bit in the morning before. You're not going to train on game day, and most of the time it's a relaxation, rest, recovery day after.
Yeah.
So we've actually gained 2.5 days worth of training each week.
Yeah, which when you are trying to completely overhaul the environment, and in every window, and Andrew said this, and he's right, every window needs to be active. Every window right now needs to be, because this squad needs to be completely reshaped.
Yeah.
So, where, like, the minute this window closes tomorrow, the club need to immediately go, right, okay, next window, this is what we need. These are players that we weren't able to shift that need to be gone in January.
Yep.
Start work. Unfortunately, I don't have the faith that Tottenham do that, but that's what should happen.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's clutching at straws. And Matthew Fleming says, "Do you agree with Ange that he has to try out the squad despite the risk versus Fulham?" We've kind of already touched on that. I have to be honest. I'm a little bit torn on it myself. I'll bring you in after, but I completely understand that we as fans have seen this for years and are like, it ain't going to work, Ange. It ain't going to work, Ange. I don't know why you think it's going to work. It ain't going to work.
Yep.
Ange, it hasn't been at Tottenham. that entire time. His background, he's come from Australia, Japan, Scotland. With the greatest respect to all of those leagues and the level of clubs in all of those countries, he possibly could have rotated 8 or 9 players in the club he was at and played well.
Yeah, you look
Like
at
I
his
said,
Celtic team. He could have played the second squad for the majority of the season in Scotland
for a high number of games
and still won the league. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he has seen these players training, feel they're at a good level training, has seen them slot in and out and look good. I can kind of understand why he thought, they'll be great. This'll work well. But it didn't, and I hope it's a lesson learned. That's all I can say, really, which is I hope it's a lesson learned that, okay, no, this isn't, I can't do that. But whether it is or not, we'll have to wait and see. And like I said earlier on, I'm not sure whether it's a lesson learned or if it's I have to prioritise the league because that's where my job is. I mean, I don't.
I hope it's not. Yeah.
Mate, what's your thoughts? Do you agree with Big Ange?
No, unfortunately, I don't. Like I said, I think 4, maybe 5 changes at a maximum, not as many as 9. It's just you're going to lose the cohesion of the squad, and unfortunately, that looks like what happened.
Yeah.
So
that's fair
lessons
enough.
learned, hopefully.
Over on Instagram, the Johnny Stark. Hello, sir. Good to hear from you. He says, overall, are you disappointed or delighted with the transfer window? Oh, great question.
Ha 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 ha. Okay, yeah.
That is a very good question. Can I say both? Can I say I am equal parts delighted with the business done and very disappointed with the business not done?
Well, that is what I was going to say, so hopefully you're allowed to. We have brought in some great players to go to the squad. We also have a lot of players still at the squad that should have been gone 2 or 3 weeks ago.
So if you look at the business that we've done, Vicario is the new number 1 goalkeeper.
Very impressed with him so far.
Very happy with. But Hugo Lloris is still at the club.
Now,
why?
This is one of those things like the transfer window closes 11 o'clock Friday night.
Yep.
We are recording this on Thursday morning.
We are.
And Hugo Lloris has said since pretty much middle of last season, that was his last season with us. Yep. We have less than 48 hours of a transfer window, and we still got him at the club.
Yeah.
I'm really confused by that.
There's a lot there, but he is... Yeah, Hugo Lloris is still there. So we signed a great goalkeeper to replace our captain and replace our long-serving keeper, but he's still at the club. So again, positive, but what the hell?
Is Hugo actually still full on training and everything with the rest of the squad? I generally don't know.
He's training on his own. He isn't integrated into the squad. And that's not a Ange excluding him thing or anything. That's him because he's actively trying to leave the club. He's sort of, I'm not part of the leadership anymore. I think he still sits and eats with the team, etc. But just he's focused on leaving.
He's keeping his fitness up and ready to look for a club. Yeah,
you got it. Yeah. So
it's mental.
It's awful for all concerned. I think it's just, but then there are different stories about this. But anyway, we'll leave that.
But on the same thing, we brought in James Maddison. James Maddison has been a phenomenal signing for us so far. And Ndombele is still training at the club.
Well, I was going to go a step further with the Maddison thing, which is we signed James Maddison and he arrived and we never gave him a shirt number. And I think everybody knew why.
Oh, God, yeah.
We just didn't want to say it.
Yeah.
But we then sold Harry Kane.
Yeah.
So our greatest ever goal scorer has been replaced in the squad by James Maddison. Very different players, and that's fine. But here we are right near the window. We've not signed a striker.
Yeah.
So we have sold our greatest ever goal scorer. He is literally it. He's the record. He is the guy who has scored 20 plus goals per season for us for the last 9 years. We've sold him for 100 million. So we have that in the bank.
Like, that's not a
transfer
small
window-
transfer fee.
No. The transfer window closes tomorrow. Now, I've said you cannot replace Harry Kane. Even if we spent that 100 million on one player, you wouldn't get that level. I stand by that. And what I also said was, so you need to replace him in the aggregate.
Yeah, you need to buy two or three
signed-
players that are going to score X amount of goals to tally that.
We've signed Maddison.
Yep.
Maddison can contribute goals and assists, which is what Kane did.
I like to think at least 15 to 20 goals will come via Maddison, be that scoring or assisting.
Really?
Scoring or assisting.
Wow. Okay.
I think he should be able. I mean, at Leicester last season, they were relegated, and I'm pretty sure he was still like in double figures for both of them.
No, he wouldn't. He got 15 combined.
Was it 15 combined? Well, okay, even so then, if he can get 15 combined for them, he can definitely get 15 or 20 combined with the players we've got.
Let's see, that's 50. Yeah, okay. But we haven't signed a striker. So this is my point, which is like, I get that you're not gonna throw 100 million at a player. I get it. Tottenham don't do that. Okay, fine. But there are strikers out there in the 20 to 30 to 40 million bracket who would improve us.
Yep.
Because we'd have that out and out number 9 striker. Richie doesn't appear to be it, and unlike you, I like him. I like him. I think he's a hard-working player. Yeah, he's got his foibles, but then so did Lamella, and I love that guy. So I just, like, genuinely, I don't see at the moment that he is being pressed and pushed, and I think perhaps he needs that. I think perhaps if Tottenham signed another striker, okay, you're going to get rotated with this guy, or all right, Richie, he's going to come on at 9, you're going to go right, you're going to go left, or whatever. Just generally keep the front fluid, because Ange wants us pressing from the front. They are going to do a lot of running.
Yep.
So, but anyway, going back to this window, Maddison come in, you've kind of half replaced Kane, but we've not replaced the other half, and the window's about to close. So again,
I will be
I'm at a loss.
so shocked if that window closes and we have not brought in Ace. I mean, I'll be not shocked. I'll be very disappointed. I completely expect us to not sign a striker before the deadline closes, and I'll be very disappointed.
Well, the rumour is we're chasing a wide forward in Brennan Johnson from Nottingham Forest. Yesterday, the news broke. I mean, I'll just address this as well. The news broke from Spain that we had agreed a loan deal with Ansu Fati from Barcelona.
Mate, I lost my mind.
There were 5 reputable sources in Spain.
Yep.
5 of them. So because of that, I was like, oh, brilliant. This is obviously a genuine thing. On our Spurs News Facebook page, whenever there's something like this, I post it as a rumour, because it is. Until it's confirmed, that's all it ever is. It's journalist rumours. So obviously I've got that caveat to it, but I only ever post stuff. I mean, otherwise I'd be posting stuff every minute of every day if I posted every single rumour that existed.
Oh, jeez.
So I only ever post stuff if it looks like, okay, that's reputable, that's come from multiple people. And I posted it with a note to say, look, at the moment there are no English journalists confirming this, because they were all scrambling to.
Yeah.
But this has come from multiple sources in Spain. I posted it, and I think half an hour, it had been out there for about an hour, and I think half an hour later, one of them, the one that I actually genuinely trust from Spain, just put, this is collapsed. Brighton have now made an offer, players going to Brighton after speaking to De Zerba. And I read that and I thought, that's got to be a joke, hasn't it?
No
and
way has a team chose Brighton over Tottenham, surely.
I'm pretty sure Brighton are in Europe.
Yeah, they are. That's what I realised. I was like, wait a minute, that's still European football.
And then I looked, and within a few minutes, every source went, we're now being told this. And then Fabrizio Romano jumped on it as an exclusive, even though it had been reported by countless other people, because you know what he's like. And then, of course, the minute he did that, I was like, oh, great, here we go.
That one sucked. So, don't get me wrong.
So apologies, everybody.
I am buzzing for Brennan Johnson to join the club. I think he is a phenomenally good young player. I really like him. I saw a fair few games for him at Forest, and I think he's a very good player. However,
I really don't rate him.
Ansu Fati, on the other hand, that kid is like, a world-class up-and-coming player.
Yeah.
A lot of people seem to be like, oh, it was only a loan deal. Don't care. Why do we want only loan deals? Who needs a loan deal? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I get that. We want to see permanent signings. But if Ange, for example, Ange has seen a couple of players like Dane Scarlett, etc., who are up and coming, but they just need one more season out on loan, and then they can come and be part of the first team. If you can use a player like Fatty as a stopgap for a season, do it.
Yeah.
And
without a doubt.
And now we've lost him to Brighton.
Yeah, I mean,
that was a moment. That was a real sit down and just accept for a second. Brighton have just beat Tottenham to a signing.
Yeah, and I think justifiably as well. I think they're willing to pay 100% of his wages when we were haggling over it. So yeah, it's what it is.
Yeah.
So just to finish this, I think the only thing I can say, Mr. the Johnny Stark, is I'm pleased with the signings we've made. I'm disappointed with the inability to move players on.
Eric Dyer.
Which is an ongoing thing. And I'm disappointed that the inability to move players has probably meant we weren't able to do more of the rebuild in this window. So we are going to be starting the season with players in the squad that we have actively tried to kick out. Their morale's in the toilet. And also, at the moment, we are going to have a squad which not all of them can play because they can't be named. We're over the 25 limit.
Yeah, I was going through it in my head, and there's players I'd even started to forget about. Brian Gill.
Yeah.
He's not gone out yet. I say Ndombele's still there. Eric Dyer's still there. We've managed to send Rodon and Spence on loan together to Leeds. Thank you.
Yeah, they come as a pair. It
does seem that way, doesn't it?
Together last season. But anyway, it's a mess. And we got the window closing. Our podcast next week, we're going to do a real chat about the window because we won't have a game to talk about. So,
yes.
Yeah. Island Brother! No theme, I'm sorry, but it's good to see the words Island Brother on my thing again. Tottenham will always... I didn't say it out loud, but I was fully hopeful again. Big Ange had his theme song. We seem to be moving from strength to strength. Was actually looking forward to games. Then Tuesday happened. Bang. Splat. Right back down to earth. But that's football. Impossible not to get caught up in it. Question, do you guys think that the selection in that match was a power play from Ange? That's funny. That's what you said. It just flies completely in the face of the statements not 24 hours earlier with 5 subs available. He could have played more from the starting 11. Players did the business and subbed them off to then rest. Hope you're all well, Coys.
Every time I see Coys now, I just expect to see Daniel at the end of it.
Yeah, Coys Daniel. We've kind of already discussed that, so I'm not convinced you are concerned that maybe it was.
Yeah, there's a little bit of concern. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But, yeah, I mean, that's it. That's all the questions. Thank you very much, everybody. Greatly appreciate it. So, yeah, like I said, the window is closing tomorrow. As we record this, it is the 31st of August. The window closes tomorrow, the 1st of September, 11 p.m. UK time.
Yep.
There is so much out there in terms of rumours and what's happening next, etc., etc.
I mean, I want us to sign a striker so badly. I'm missing Leandro Domial now.
Yeah, I mean, we are going to do a full wrap on the show next week. The next game is Saturday, and it's against Burnley. Sorry, we do have a game to talk about, obviously. Duh. And then there's an international break. That's where my head was.
Yep.
So yeah, Saturday the 2nd, we travel to Burnley, another away game. It's a 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. I think we better get used to them again.
Yeah.
But yeah, 3 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday away to Burnley. So good luck to the team and Ange for that one. Hopefully we can get back on track very quickly because otherwise, yeah, the goodwill is suddenly going to vanish hard. But mate, thank you very much for joining me again. I have no idea who's going to be here next week, but whoever it is, it'd be me and them.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for stepping in so much during the summer, and hopefully you'll do that throughout the season.
Where I'm needed, yeah.
Massive thank you to everybody for continuing to listen and support the show. Really appreciate it. We, the show, Spurs News Podcast, will be back next week, like I said, to do a transfer wrap and to talk about the Burnley game. Until then, everybody, you all take care.
Come on, you Spurs.
Thank you for listening to the Spurs News Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Stay up to date with all things Tottenham. Follow us on social media. All links are in the podcast description.